This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about, actually I was going to say lots of different things. I have lots of different kind of updates for you all, what's been happening over the last couple of weeks. One of the things that has been most requested is an Allan update. I also think I found something creepier than Allan that I don't even know if that's possible. If you don't know who Allan is, don't worry. All will be explained in a second. And also I'm going to be talking about how I feel like I'm becoming a middle-aged man. But anyway, before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Redpost. Redpost is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, and they also ship all over the world. And now spring is finally here. Yes, I'm saying it. I'm claiming it. Spring is here. The sunshine is out. Last weekend, it was about 15, 16 degrees here. So I'm saying spring is here. The daffodils are out. Now is the perfect time to check all of your tack, all of your riding equipment to make sure that it's up to standards, it still fits, it's not too old. One example is stirrup leathers. That is one thing that people always forget to check, and that is one thing that can wear out. So check your stirrup leathers, make sure that they're all good. Make sure you check your helmet as well. Now is a really good time to make sure it still fits properly, that it's not older than 5 years old. I always say older than 3 years old because these things, you know, they do have a lifespan. So make sure that everything is fitting properly just for safety reasons. Stay safe out there, guys. And if you do need any more new equipment, be sure to go to redpostequestrian.co.uk. Also, if you go to their in-store shop in Devon, they will give you a hat fitting to make sure that it's professionally fitted. Very, very important. But anyway, let's get into today's podcast episode. So I don't really need to start. Maybe we should start off talking about how I feel like I'm becoming a middle-aged man, because I feel like that's quite a rogue thing to say. I'm a 23-year-old girl, like that's very different. But for those of you who are regular listeners on the podcast, you will know that I spend a lot of the time with my dad because I employ him full-time to help me with my social media, with filming, editing, admin, emails, lots of different stuff. So we spend a lot of time together, especially we spend a lot of time in the car together, going on long car journeys. And I feel like also I've turned my dad a little bit into a teenage girl in the sense where he's listened to a lot of my music over the years on long car journeys, that kind of thing. But I feel like it's becoming the other way around a little bit. I just feel like I'm becoming such like a grouchy old person. I don't know, maybe it's because here are lots of different examples where my dad's like, oh, I think I'm rubbing off on you kind of thing. Because first off, we were on a long car journey the other day. Now, my dad's favourite thing to do while I'm asleep on a long car journey is listen to Radio 4. He loves to listen to the news, he loves to listen to what's happening in the world, and a lot of the time, like after a little bit, I'm like, okay, I'm ready, to listen to some pop girly hits. I've had enough now. But I've started listening to it with him and I'm like, oh my gosh. I thought it was a Radio 1 kind of gal. The other day we were out on the horse box. In our horse box, you can connect to Bluetooth, but it's one of those weird things where you can only connect to it when the horse box is stationary. And so we're not going very far. We just listen to the radio, not that deep. Anyway, Radio 1 was on the other day. I'm going to sound like such a complainer, but I was just like, no. It got to the stage where I was like, no, there's just too much chat about that's literally what I'm doing in today's podcast episode. I'm literally just waffling about random stuff, so maybe I'm being a bit hypocritical. But I was like, they literally just kept repeating what they'd already said, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to put some Radio 4 on, and that's how I know I'm getting old. I am getting old. I also, do you know how old I am also? I downloaded BBC Sounds onto my phone. That is, I mean, my dad and I, we quite like listening to either podcasts or quite a lot of comedy. We listen to a lot of oh my gosh, now you need to turn your phone off. I'm like, we literally 5 seconds into this podcast episode, my phone went off and I thought, you know what, we're just going to restart. Now my dad's phone has gone off. He didn't even think to put it on silent when I put mine on silent. Anyway, we are so professional. So yes, I've downloaded BBC Sounds on my phone. That is the stage where I'm like, okay, what is happening here? I need to, like, I don't know, go and do something that young women do, because I feel like I'm getting old. The final strike, where my dad was like, okay, Esme, you need to sort your life out, was because we went on a lovely sunny walk the other day. We went, actually, this was yesterday. It feels like a long time ago because we did it first thing in the morning. My new favourite thing that I've been doing recently, which again, I feel like I'm an old person saying this, but I love getting up early on a Sunday morning. I know most people my age probably don't do that because they're out partying the night before. I'm not a party person. So anyway, I love it. If you know that feeling in lockdown where you feel like the whole world was empty and it was just you and it was magical and there were no like annoying people like and busyness, and honestly, I sound so grumpy right now, but that feeling you can get if you wake up early on a Sunday morning, because everybody else is asleep or in bed. But me, you know what? I'm out there. I'm enjoying life before it gets busy. So anyway, we thought, let's go on a family walk first thing in the morning. Also, if you're one of those people that love going on the Stairmaster at the gym, forget doing that now the sun shines out. Just go for a hilly walk, or if you live near where I do, go for a walk on the cliffs. Oh my goodness. So where we are, there are these massive cliffs and there's this walk that you can do along them. And because they're kind of very hilly, they go up and down. It is a right old workout, I tell you that. Anyway, we thought that would be lovely to do. So we were walking along, that kind of thing. We were getting to the end of our walk. We were getting to the stage where it was like, okay, let's go and meet the grandparents for brunch. You know, okay, we've had our morning activity. And anyway, we were walking along, we were on our last hill. And it sounds like that audio from Abby Lee Miller where it goes, I just heard this horrible grating voice, or like this horrible noise. It was a group of teenage lads. In the UK, we would probably refer to them as roadmen. I have an international audience, so I don't know how well that translates. But, you know, the sort of guys that you would see kind of just like hanging out in the streets, that kind of thing. For some reason, they decided to go on an early morning walk as well, which, you know, good for them. But they were so noisy. We were just like listening to the bird song, listening to the waves of the ocean and the sea, you know, feeling really mindful. And then we had like this rap music coming from behind us as these guys were running. They weren't like, and they, you know, they weren't sort of like guys that look like, oh, they're marathon training, that's why they're climbing up this hill. They just were some dudes going for like just running down the hill. And I was like, what is happening? And anyway, I felt like a grumpy, complaining person because they were disrupting the nature. They were disrupting the vibes. You know, why did they bring a big speaker? Why were they blasting music loudly on a beautiful Sunday morning? Anyway, so there we go. That is why I'm feeling like a grumpy old man at the moment. So anyway, moving on. What else is... Tell you what happened the other day. Well, it really freaked me out, actually. So if you know me, I love feeling warm and snuggly. Every evening when I get into my cottage, especially as it's a 100-year-old cottage, it does get quite chilly. Like in the evenings, it's still quite chilly at the moment. My favourite thing over the winter is I have one of those hot water bottle. Well, it's not hot water because you don't put water in it. It's one of those like teddies that have like lavender and beads and that kind of thing in it. And you put it in the microwave for 2 minutes or whatever, and it becomes really hot, really warm, and you can snuggle next to it. And what I do is I make kind of like a little pocket of warmth, because I sit on my sofa, then I have my little snuggly warm teddy, and then I put a blanket over the top, and then it's like a pocket of warmth, and it works really well. So recently I've been sleeping with this like warm teddy. And anyway, the other morning I woke up and there were all these little brown things like this, like little brown things, and I was like, the first thing I thought when I woke up in the morning was, oh my gosh, the mice have got into my bed, because, you know, living in the countryside, we have a lot of like mice, or I was going to say rats. They're definitely not rats. They're not big enough, but we get like lots of little mice that like to live in my attic, and sometimes they make little scratchy noises. Like, that's just, you know, living in the country. I mean, they don't really disrupt me that much. So I thought, first thought was, oh my gosh, a mouse has come into my bed in the night, obviously wanted to be with my warm little hot water bottle, like hot teddy kind of thing, and has pooed in my bed. So you know when you wake up in the morning, you're a bit delirious, you don't really know what's happening. And I thought, oh my gosh, a mouse has pooed in my bed. And then I realised, wait a second, this isn't poo, this is like little seeds. And then I thought, oh my gosh, a mouse has put loads of seeds in my bed as like a way of, you know, storing it for the winter, storing it for spring, like that kind of thing. And then I thought, wait a second. And then I realised I was devastated. My hot teddy, my hot stuffed animal kind of thing, it had leaked, and all of the beans had come out, because they were like really small little beans as well, like little seedy bean things. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I honestly, I blamed it on the mice. I blamed it on the mice, these poor mice. They were like, Esme, why are you blaming me? Anyway, after, a few minutes, I realised it was my hot teddy. So my hot teddy has unfortunately RIP'd, because I thought, you know what? Putting something that's broken, that should be microwaved, in the microwave does not sound like a good idea. I was like, that does not sound very safe. So anyway, I'm back to using a normal hot water bottle now, which I don't know if it's better or worse. There's like pros and cons to both, because I found the hot teddy, it was a little bit damp sometimes. Maybe I put it in the microwave for a little bit too long, but it gets like a little bit sweaty. Like it's a little bit like wet warm. So sometimes, I don't know, maybe that's just me. And then the hot water bottle, you don't have that, but you do have the fear of pouring like burning water into this like case. And you're like, oh my gosh, if this explodes, it's not going to be good. So there's that fear as well. I mean, anyway, so that was my little major panic that I had the other morning. Talking about creepy things, okay, I'm going to have to do the Allan update in a second. I'm going to explain what Allan is in a second, but I'm not going to explain yet, because I actually went to the National Equine Show the other weekend. It was so much fun. Thank you to everyone who came along. You're all so lovely. Now, normally when I do like meet and greets and chat to you guys or meet you in real life, I always like to ask like, oh, do you have any questions or anything you want to ask? And the question the questions that I normally get asked the most is like, do I have a favourite horse? What's my favourite saddle pad colour? If I could describe my dream horse, what would it be? Like these sort of questions, or what's my favourite like riding discipline? They're normally like the top kind of questions I get asked most. Do you know what my top question was at the National Equine Show? It was, can we have an Allan update on the podcast? And I was like, okay, yep, that will come. To be fair, at that stage when I was at that show, I think I quite like to have like a bit of a podcast. I like things to be like pre-filmed, just in case, you know, something terrible happens and I need to have some time off, or I'm poorly, or, you know, something happens. I like to be ahead of schedule just in case, because I'd hate to let you down and miss a week's episode. Apart from when I first, that only happened once. When I first started doing the podcast, I think I did like 2 episodes and then I lost my voice, which is so ironic. But apart from then, I have not missed a week's podcast episode. So there we go. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So yes, National Equine Show, great show. I did a little chat on the panel as well. It was really fun. Catching up with some friends, with my friend Meg and also Rosie, who was doing all the presenting there. So I don't know, I love going to shows like this, because it's just, I don't know, it's like catching up with all your buddies, especially as a lot of the time it's just me and my dad, a few other people that work for us as well. But apart from that, you know, we have quite a small team. So anyway, Allan, we need to talk about Allan, because so many people have asked. Now, Allan, if you don't know, he is, if you could imagine, the creepiest little wooden, I think he's technically a bottle stopper, but he looks like Lord Farquaad and some sort of, you know, possessed doll. If they like had a child together, that is Allan. We found him at an antiques kind of, it was like a secondhand like car boot sale. He was like £1 or £2 he cost. Anyway, he's very creepy, and me and my family have found it fun like hiding him in different places for my family members to find and for him to jump scare us. So anyway, Allan, for a while we have not had an Allan update, because he has been sleeping because basically when I came back from the Seychelles, I told my family that Allan was still in the Seychelles with Batman, who is my boyfriend, but we call him Batman on the podcast. So anyway, I said, oh, he's with Batman. And Batman was actually quite good. He was posting photos that you already took with Allan onto the family group chat, being like, oh, this is what Allan's been up to today, like that kind of thing. So my family like really thought Allan was still in the Seychelles. Now, my mum and dad had a little night away in London the other night, and I thought, perfect. You know, it's been like a month, and they have not suspected that Allan is in the UK. So I thought, perfect. Okay, they're away. I'm house sitting. Do you know what's going to happen? They're going to get a lovely Allan surprise when they come home to their bed that evening when they came back from their like trip away. So I was like, perfect. So anyway, my mum I get this message from my mum being like, oh my gosh, Allan was in our bed. And I was like, yeah, that's what happens when you go away. He had a little party while you were gone in your bedroom. And then my mum got really worried because Allan had a little bit of minor trauma in my suitcase when we came back from my trip to the Seychelles. I think he got a little bit damaged. So I was like, oh, maybe he's angry. Anyway, so my mum, I said, Allan's arm is in the bed. I put him in the bed with his arm. His arm went missing for a little bit. So my mum and dad have just been going to sleep for like a week with this arm, Allan's arm, like in their bed for some reason. Anyway, the arm has been found. He's been fixed. The arm has been glued back on. He also he's got that like a little stick at the back of him where when you move it, his mouth like opens and closes. So my dad's managed to fix that as well. And apparently because my mum's got him now. He's my mum's responsibility, and I'm nervous because we've got a family trip, got a family day out, and she says that she's going to bring him along. So once this is fine. I was going to say, because she wants to jump scare my brother with him now, and my brother won't listen to this because this podcast is going out this week, so it's fine. It won't be out yet by the time this happens. So anyway, more Allan updates coming. The thing that I found the funniest was at one of my meet and greets when one of you guys said, oh my gosh, can we have more Allan updates? And then their friend was like, oh my gosh, who's Allan? And I just said, you don't want to know who Allan is. Once you know who Allan is, you will never forget Allan. Anyway, okay. As I also said in the intro, I have found something creepier than Allan. Now, let me set the scene. Every now and again, I like to go on Pinterest. I'm a Pinterest girly. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. I'm not so much a grumpy old man. I like going on Pinterest anyway. I was on Pinterest. I was scrolling through. I was looking at like spring fashion trends, especially as we're going to spring. I was thinking, oh, what's cute spring like decorations or things that I can do, like DIY, crafty, like baking kind of things. Like my Pinterest page is very cutesy, like bows, pink, pastel colours, fashion. You know what I mean. So normally on Pinterest, there's like targeted ads, like everything that's ads on everything nowadays. I mean, I can't complain. That's literally how I earn my money, by people watching the ads before like my YouTube videos and me doing the sponsors for the podcast and repost. But anyway, I can't complain. But this made me cackle because I was scrolling through. Now, normally I get like ads for like clothing companies or homeware companies or like something very related to what I've been looking at on Pinterest. And then I got this ad, and I was like, I knew it was an ad straight away because I was like, this is not normally what's on my Pinterest feed. And do you know what it was? I'm going to have to put a photo up on screen in a second. If you're listening on Spotify, we love Spotify because I'm on the partner program and they pay me. If you're listening on Spotify, then you'll be able to see because we have a video on there, or on my YouTube channel for the podcast, you'll be able to see there as well. So audio listeners, if you're like driving to work or you're cooking or doing like you're washing up or I don't know, or mucking out your horses, whatever you're doing when you're listening, I will try my best to describe to you what this creepy thing was. Now, I'm going to have to find the photo because I'm going to describe this to you as what the ad description was. Honestly, I have never seen... Wait, how do you spell armadillo? Sorry, this. Okay, here we go. I found it. So the ad said, handcrafted armadillo silicone Etsy UK. Now, this thing looks like if Dobby, Gollum, and a cockroach and a silicone like baby doll, but the creepiest thing you could ever imagine. Like, this is nightmare fuel. There needs to be like some sort of horror film made about this. It looks like a newborn baby and an old man at the same time, but it's possessed. Honestly, this is the creepiest thing I've ever seen. So obviously this popped up and I thought, that's a little bit weird. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to click on it. I'm not going to look at it, because if not, I'm going to have it recommended again. I'm going to click on it, and then all of my ads that I'm going to get is going to be something creepy like that. And I'm like, I don't want to be scrolling on my phone and my friend being like, what's that ad that you've got there, Esme? What have you been looking at? What sort of weird person are you? So anyway, scroll past. 2 days later, the same ad pops up. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just a fluke. Obviously, like, I'm just going to scroll past it as quickly as I can so it doesn't think I'm, like, at all interested. Another few days go by, back on Pinterest. It pops up again. I was like, okay, 3 strikes. I'm going to have to look at this. Like, I can't hold back anymore. It's like, you know when people say there's a button here and you're not allowed to press it? And I was like, you know what? The time has come. I need to look at this ad. I need to look at it now. So I clicked on it, guys. I clicked on it and I thought, this is so funny, because I put it on my family group chat and I was like, I've been recommended this 3 times. And look, it's even creepier than Allan. I was like, my mum was like, oh my gosh, you must get it. So anyway, clicked on it because it was lunchtime with the fam. I was having my little afternoon coffee and I was like, I'm going to have to click on it. So I clicked on it. Guess how much this handcrafted silicone armadillo. Wait, well, let me find the actual ad. It's even longer. The ad is even longer. Handcrafted armadillo, silicone sculpture, unique, realistic animal art. What on earth? And I mean, I'm going to give it a shout out to whoever this Etsy creator is, but it's called Baby Creatures. Baby creatures sounds like, oh, cute little whimsical, like baby guinea pigs and little baby bunnies. I mean, baby bunnies do look a little bit weird when they are first born, because they're like, just have no hair and that kind of thing. Maybe that's what they're going for. Anyway, so I clicked on it. Guess how much money this thing costs? Okay, I thought maybe if it's 20 quid or something, I'll buy it. It could be the new Allan. I can jump scare my family. This will be so funny. It is out of my budget. It is more than what I paid for Casper. It is it's like double what I paid for my first car. Okay, it is £5,648.34. Almost £6,000 for this creepy little, I don't even know what it is, honestly. And then I went onto the Etsy, and there's even more, and they're even more creepy, and they're all like at least a couple of grand. And I'm like, what? Who is the target audience for this? Who is buying this? Why am I getting these targeted ads? Do they just think I'm a complete weirdo? Like, I honestly. And then the other day, I was having dinner with my friends. We were out for my friend's birthday. It was quite a big group of us. And I was like, guys, I need to tell you something. Has anybody else had this ad? Everyone, apart from one friend did, and she was like, oh my goodness, it wasn't just me. I thought that Pinterest thought that I was a weirdo and this is what I wanted. And I was like, same. Why on earth? Like, my friend, she's like me. She's into like cutesy, like Pinterest kind of spring fashiony stuff as well. Like, I'm like a little bit weird. I mean, we have Allan, but I was like, she's not weird. What's going on? Anyway, so that has been haunting me recently. Since I have clicked on it, though, I haven't had any more ads of it. So maybe it thought, oh, she saw the price, she's not interested. Because I have that. I find, like, for example, I'm trying to think of what I remember before I got my iPad, this was quite a few years ago, my whole For You page was all videos on, like, iPads, iPad hacks, like what you need to do, like all like little cool features and apps and stuff for it. As soon as I got my iPad, no more I have not had a single video being like iPad stuff. Like, I don't know, they know. The other day, me and my dad, we were doing a little cool we're doing a photo shoot for Superdry, which is very cool. I'm actually wearing one of their tops right now, so big up Superdry for doing some sponsored stuff with us. Anyway, so we decided to go to the beach, film a cute little thing near where this beach is actually in the like, it's in the fancy part of town. It's in the posh part of town. It's in the part of town where there are like 2 private schools or like prep schools opposite each other. So we parked obviously in between these 2 private schools because it's where there's like good car parking. Anyway, we parked there, walked past. I maybe like mentioned the school once just in like as we were talking, like, because I was like, oh, that's where like that school is, that kind of thing. That was it. Ever since then, my ads on my phone have been so messed up lately, because after that, I have had so many adverts on my phone for private schools for like primary school children. Now, out of all the people to target that for, I have no children. I am not a child. I don't know why I keep getting ads for like private schools as well. It's so weird. Anyway, I've been a bit freaked out about what my phone, because I was like, well, that targeted ad obviously kind of worked because we were near the private schools and I was chatting about them for like 5 seconds. But this armadillo thing, I don't know where that's come from. So please let me know in the comments if you've had some weird targeted ads lately, because maybe it'll make me feel better about myself, because that is the most creepy thing I've ever seen. So anyway, before we finish this episode, I had one more story, and that is the other day, me and my friend decided to go to the gym. Now, I quite enjoy going to the gym with her. It's good fun. We normally have a big catch up. We just like have a little play around on the running machines. I quite like it because my favourite thing is going in the sauna. So I'm like, I kind of go to just go in the sauna. But anyway, or go in the hot tub as well. It's quite fun. You know, girly hot tub chats. But we thought, okay, we're going to, go on some of the machines, have a bit of fun. Now, my gym, I was going to say recently, it was probably like quite a few months ago now. They've changed all the machines, so they've got all new ones, and since then I've not really been brave enough, because a lot of the time if I've gone to the gym, I've gone on my own. I've not been brave enough to go on the new machines. I'm like stuck to the treadmill, stuck to the go-to, like I call them the butt machines, because they like give your butt a workout, which is great for equestrians because obviously we use our seat. There we go. I should probably stop saying butt. We use our seat. There we go. It's the more elegant, demure way of putting it. We use our seat and our legs quite a lot. So anyway, I use those sort of machines. But she's like, okay, I need to get a bit stronger on my arms, so I'm going to use the arm machines. Now I haven't really used the arm machines much, so I was like, okay, let's see what we can do. Now there was this one machine, and I feel like I should know what it's called. Like I'm gonna see if I've got a video of us doing it. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. I've never been more embarrassed in my life at the gym. But luckily, because there were 2 of us, we were just laughing about it. If it was on my own, I think I would have cried. But anyway, we went on this machine, and it was the sort of ones where it helps you do. It's like you have to like climb up onto this little platform that you kneel on. You have your arms on, you're holding your arms up high. You're kind of like a bit like you're doing a pull-up. Now the thing is, what you do with this machine is you push down, and your whole like knees and body goes all the way down, and then you pull yourself back up again. Now with most machines, you put it on, especially when I'm starting out and I'm like, okay, I don't want to embarrass myself. I need to sort this. I need to go on the lowest level possible, just to, get used to it and then up the weight. So I put it on the lowest weight possible, got on, went to push down, and I said to my friend, I was like, I can't do it. And she was like, what do you mean you can't do it? I was like, this is on the lightest one and it's not pushing down. Like I was literally like jumping around and that kind of thing. I was like, this is not working. And then this guy came up to us and was like, oh, I was like, I'm struggling. Well, he was like, oh, you struggling a little bit? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, thought I was going to be absolutely shamed, mortified. He was the nicest guy ever. He was like, oh, you just need to put it on the bottom weight, actually, because the way it works is because you're kind of pushing your weight down, it needs to be on really like high weight because you're kind of using your body a bit like a lift, I guess. Anyway, so put it on the lowest weight.
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're gonna love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
Every cup of Nespresso coffee is an invitation to transform your morning routine into a ritual you can treasure each and every day. Using the Virtuo Pup, a simple touch of the button freshly brews bold aromas and a rich, velvety crema layer for delicious cafe-quality coffee at home. Whether you enjoy your coffee hot or over ice, every sip, every morning is unforgettable. Nothing tastes like Nespresso coffee. Visit Nespresso.com or our app to explore our full range of easy-to-use machines and coffees not found anywhere else.
Got on. The whole thing just suddenly collapsed down to the bottom. I was like, oh my gosh. So embarrassing. Okay, put it like a little bit higher up. Okay, all was good. Found it on the correct weight. Started doing that. That was actually so much fun. It was a really good one as well. You could really see, I put a little video on my story. I was like, yes, you can see my back muscles, they're popping. That is one thing that I really need to work on, my right shoulder. I often get quite a lot of pain in it. I have to go and see the physio quite often. So that's why I've been going to the gym also. She's like, Esme, you need to go to the gym. You need to do exercises to build up the correct muscles so you don't use the wrong muscles so your back doesn't hurt as much. Anyway, becoming a stronger rider for my horses. So did that. Then after that, we thought, oh, let's go and use this other one. Now, this machine. Now, often these things, they do have instructions on the side, but I struggle with instructions sometimes. So anyway, it was one where you hold on to these two like little triangle handles. They're on strings and you like push forward. Now, I didn't realise that you could change the kind of like angle of them and also change the weight. And again, another guy at the gym, not even the same one, a different guy came up and was like, "You're struggling a little bit." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, put on the right thing for me. And I was like, "Oh, this is so much better." And then I got going. So this is your like message that if you're embarrassed or scared or don't know how to use gym equipment, just struggle and someone will come and help you. That is my message, and that is my little takeaway for today's podcast episode, that if you're nervous about doing something, or you're worried about doing something, or worried about making a fool of yourself, just make a fool of yourself and someone will come and help you. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to finish off today's podcast episode there. I hope you enjoyed hearing about all of the creepy things. I feel like today's podcast episode is just going to be a podcast about all the creepy things that have happened, all of the embarrassing things that have happened. Strange. It's been a weird one, but I hope you enjoyed it. I feel like sometimes these are your favourite ones for some reason. But anyway, on that note, I'll finish today's episode there. Let me know in the comments what you've been up to this week. If you've had any weird or strange things that have happened in your life to make me feel better about myself, that maybe it's not just my life where lots of strange and weird things happen. And I just want to say another huge thank you to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast. Go and check out them at redpostequestrian.co.uk. Get your spring equestrian and country needs from them. I'll see you all next time. Bye!